Annual kits came mainly from three different manufacturers: SMP from 1958 to 61, AMT from 1958 to 1976, and MPC from 1965 to 1986. Each company had its own kit styling and extras. By 1961, AMT had started taking over SMP. Some common things about annual model car kits. They were usually 3-in-1 customizing kits. Parts for the stock version, plus a mix of racing and customizing parts like roll bars, seat belts, chromed wool covers, custom decal sheets, and customizing parts such as front and rear ends. These were often designed by the professional customizers of that time. A lot of kits also had custom interiors, lakes pipes, custom wool treatments, custom fender skirts, swept back antennas, accessory spotlights, lowering blocks for the rear, etc. For most of the years of annual series model car kits, the chassis were one unit and assembled onto the body by 2 or 4 threaded screws that you threaded into molded, hollow posts, 2 at the front, 2 at the rear. Just like the way promos were assembled in model companies' factories. Originally, the annual series customizing model kits had no opening hoods and no engines. Since often the annual kits were the promo model, but with added parts for building any one of 3 versions. Beginning around 1960, AMT added engine detail and opening hoods to their Thunderbird and Corvette kits, extending that feature across all their annual series kits by 1962, with the exception of Corvairs. They were still promo-based. Given that the annual model car kits were almost always based on the tooling for dealer promotional models, the companies would engrave the year of the car on the license plates. Since promos were created to meet the demands of automakers, if the particular automobile manufacturer decided to drop next year's model promotional, the model company who'd done that car or pickup truck might still produce the model for a year or more. AMT did that with their 1963 Ford F100 annual kit. In 1964, as there was to be number 1964 promo of that truck, AMT's people simply smoothed out the license plate detail, thus eliminating the year, molded more of them, sold them as a new Ford pickup. Back then 60's, the market for 1/25th scale 3-in-1 model kits was hot. Model kits of this year's new cars were eagerly anticipated. With a few exceptions, there was almost no market for last year's model. However, AMT did reissue some older promotional models as simple screwdriver assembly models for younger builders, like the AMT Craftsman Jr. series. In that series, a few kits that had been promos, but never as a glue-together 3-in-1 kit. But, as a general rule, once the promotional model and 3-in-1 annual series kit production runs were finished for a particular year, the tooling was set aside, some apparently scrapped or allowed to deteriorate, rust damage. In the 1980s, though, AMT/Ertl did bring back a few of those old annuals, as the stock versions. Still assembled in pretty much the same way, except they had raised nubs on the upper inside of the chassis, where the screw holes had been. No more screws. You would glue the chassis onto the body now. That reissuing of older 60s and 70s annual series kits was also done by Johann, who also reissued a number of 50s and 60s promotional models from old, existing tooling under their XEL brand, and a series of reissued screwdriver kits of 60s late 70s promo-based kits with no customizing options, as USA Oldies. But along the way, Monogram, now Revell, and AMT/Ertl tooled up some new kits of 60s and 70s cars, but as completely modern, more state-of-the-art kits.